Using your emergency fund was not the mistake. Waiting to rebuild it is. If your budget can handle $200 a month and you wait 6 months, you just created a $1,200 gap that never needed to exist. That number isn't a bank penalty. It's not some guaranteed loss for everyone. It's just lost recovery time. 200, that could have gone back in every month, times 6. The good news? The same math works the other way. Restart the transfer, move a few temporary priorities around, you can close that gap instead of watching it grow, but before you rush to refill the account, ask yourself one question that's easy to skip. Was that expense actually an emergency? That question matters, because the answer may show that refilling the account is only half the fix. The expense may have needed its own budget category all along. And here's a surprise. You don't always need a big raise, a second job, or a completely different life to rebuild faster. Sometimes the fastest recovery is just changing the order of the goals you already fund and giving irregular income one clear job. When the balance drops, the emotional hit can take over. You watch a number that took months or years to build disappear in a day. Medical bill, car dies, layoff, critical home repair. Suddenly, the account that made you feel safe looks unfinished. That feeling creates mistake number 1, treating the withdrawal like proof your plan failed. A real emergency withdrawal means the plan worked. The money was there so you didn't have to put the whole thing on a high-interest credit card, miss a payment, or sell investments at a bad time. The balance went down because the fund did its job. Calling that a failure is like saying a fire extinguisher is useless because you had to use it. The real cost starts when disappointment turns into delay. You tell yourself you'll restart next month. Then one busy month becomes 3. 3 becomes 6. If you had room for $200 a month, that delay leaves you $1,200 behind. Your number might be $50 a month, $500 a month, or somewhere in between. The exact amount is different for everyone. What matters is that every month without a plan keeps the cushion lower for longer. You don't need the perfect amount to restart, you just need an amount that proves the rebuild has started. Even $25 transferred today changes the story from I used my emergency fund to I'm rebuilding it. Then you can raise it after you look at the budget. Momentum matters. An automatic transfer is way easier to keep going than a vague promise. Picture Chris. Chris knows the budget could support $200 a month. But after the emergency, the account feels so low that Chris waits for the right time. 6 months later, nothing has changed, and the missing contributions add up to $1,200. The emergency created the withdrawal, the delay created the gap. Once Chris pauses one optional goal that costs $150 a month and adds another $50 a month from occasional extra work, the full $200 monthly contribution comes back. No dramatic income change needed. Mistake number 2 is skipping the emergency test after the money is already gone. This isn't about judging yourself. It's about learning what the withdrawal actually showed you. Ask 4 simple questions. Was it necessary? Was it urgent? Was it unexpected? And was it too big to handle from regular monthly cash flow? A broken furnace in freezing weather might pass all 4. Replacing a phone that still works just because a new model dropped? Probably not. An urgent medical procedure might qualify. An annual insurance bill that shows up at the same time every year? That's different. Important, expensive, but not unexpected. Why check after you already paid? Because the answer tells you what to fix next. A true emergency means the fund needs rebuilding. A predictable expense means you may need to rebuild the fund and create a separate category so the same bill doesn't drain it again. Skip the test, and you might refill the account only to repeat the same withdrawal. Say you took $900 from emergency savings for annual car insurance. Necessary, but not unexpected. Labeling it an emergency feels fine in the moment. 12 months later, the same $900 shows up again. If nothing changes, the emergency fund gets hit a second time. Better move? Start a dedicated auto insurance fund and transfer $75 a month. 12 deposits, and the $900 is sitting there before the bill arrives. Same expense, 0 emergency drama. It's easy to confuse irregular expenses with unpredictable ones. Car maintenance doesn't happen every Tuesday, but cars still need it. Registration doesn't come every month, but the date is known. Routine medical costs aren't identical every year, but some level of spending may still be expected. Homeowners don't know which appliance will quit first, but they know repairs and replacements will eventually be needed. Mistake number 3 is rebuilding toward the old dollar target without checking how much safety you actually have left. A dollar amount by itself can fool you. You see $4,500 and think, that's still a lot. Maybe it is. But if your essential monthly expenses are $3,000, that balance is only 1.5 months of coverage. The real number isn't $4,500, it's 1.5 months. 3 steps. Check the current balance. Figure your essential monthly costs, housing, basic utilities, groceries, insurance, minimum debt payments, transportation, medication, the things you'd still need if income stopped. Divide the balance by that number. 4,500 divided by 3,000 is 1.5 months. 8,000 with 2,000 in essentials is 4 months. Those two people shouldn't rebuild with the same urgency just because both recently used the fund. Look at Maya. She had 9,000 and 3,000 in essentials, 3 full months. Then a real $4,500 emergency cut it in half. She still has 4,500, which sounds solid, but the runway is now only 1.5 months. That changes priorities. She restarts a $300 automatic transfer. 6 months gives her $1,800. A $1,200 tax refund goes straight in. Together, that's $3,000 restored. Balance climbs from $4,500 to $7,500, 2.5 months of her current essentials. Not fully back to $9,000 yet, but much safer, and every dollar has a reason. Notice what the tax refund did. It replaced 4 months of her $300 contributions in one shot. For someone rebuilding at $200 a month, a $1,500 refund equals 7.5 months of regular deposits. Irregular income can shrink the timeline, but only if you decide where it goes before it arrives. Your target also needs to move when your expenses change. Rent went up, debt got paid off, childcare started, insurance changed, commute disappeared. An emergency fund based on an old lifestyle gives you false confidence or an unnecessarily big goal. Recheck essential living costs at least every 6 months while you're rebuilding. You're not chasing a perfect number. You're making sure the target matches the life you're protecting right now. Mistake number 4 is keeping every other financial goal running full speed while the emergency fund stays underfunded. This is where rebuilding starts to feel impossible. You're still feeding investments, saving for travel, paying extra on a low-interest loan, building a home upgrade fund, setting money aside for a new car. Each goal makes sense on its own. The problem is treating every one of them as equally urgent after your safety cushion just got thinner. A rebuild period isn't forever. It's a temporary change in order. Decide which goals protect basic stability and which ones can slow down for a few months. That doesn't mean automatically cutting every retirement contribution. If your employer offers a match, you may still decide to contribute enough to receive it. The point is to review optional goals instead of letting every old setting run on autopilot. Start with the automatic transfer. If it stopped after you withdrew the money, turn it back on as soon as you've reviewed your budget and chosen an amount you can sustain. Automation removes the monthly debate. When the money moves after payday, rebuilding becomes part of the budget instead of whatever happens to be left at the end of the month. Then look for temporary shifts. Maybe you were putting $150 a month into a vacation fund. Pause that for 6 months, and you've freed $900. Add another $50 a month from freelance work or overtime, and you're back to a $200 monthly rebuild rate. If the $50 comes from selling something you no longer use, treat it as a one-time boost instead. Over 6 months, the recurring combination restores $1,200. No heroic income jump, no permanent sacrifice, just clearer priorities. Next, assign irregular income before it shows up. Bonuses, tax refunds, reimbursements, cash gifts, and temporary spikes in side income can be easy to absorb into everyday spending because they aren't part of your normal paycheck. During the rebuild, give each one a rule. Maybe every reimbursement goes straight back into the emergency fund because that account covered the original expense. Maybe a tax refund or bonus also goes into the fund until you reach a certain number of months of coverage. The exact rule is yours. Just decide before the money lands, in checking. The fastest plan isn't always the one with the biggest monthly transfer. It's the one that pairs a sustainable automatic amount with the occasional bigger deposit. $200 a month makes $1,200 in 6 months. Add a $600 bonus, and the total becomes $1,800. If instead you receive a $1,500 refund, the total becomes $2,700. If both arrive, the total becomes $3,300. These are examples, not promises, but they show why a recovery plan needs both regular and irregular cash flow. There's a behavioral upside too. When extra dollars have no assignment, they can disappear into everyday spending. When the rule is clear, a $400 reimbursement is less likely to turn into 4 random purchases. It becomes $400 of restored safety. Mistake number 5, and the last trap, is using the emergency fund for predictable expenses instead of building dedicated sinking funds. This one can make rebuilding feel endless. You refill the account, then car maintenance takes $600, you rebuild again. Annual insurance takes $900. A few months later, registration, a routine deductible, or a known home repair pulls more out. The account never seems to recover, not because real emergencies keep hitting, but because predictable costs keep borrowing the emergency label. A sinking fund fixes this. It turns a future lump sum into a monthly contribution. Expect about $600 in car maintenance over the next year. $50 a month gets you there. Have a $900 annual insurance bill? $75 a month covers it. Pay a $360 professional fee each year? $30 a month handles it. The monthly amounts are easier to plan for because the surprise is gone. Meet Jordan. Essential expenses run $2,400 a month, and Jordan recently took $900 from emergency savings to cover annual auto insurance. The first plan was simply to replace the $900. But the emergency test shows the real issue. Necessary? Yes. Scheduled and predictable? Also yes. Replacing the money without a new category sets up the exact same withdrawal next year. Jordan now runs two transfers. One rebuilds the emergency fund. The other sends $75 a month into an auto insurance sinking fund. That second transfer doesn't refill emergency savings today, but it stops the rebuild from getting undone 12 months later. Recovering the balance is one thing. Fixing the system is another. Same approach works for car repairs, annual premiums, registration, routine medical costs, pet care, technology replacement, home maintenance. You can't know every future cost exactly. The goal isn't perfect prediction. It's recognizing categories that will probably need money and starting to prepare before the bill becomes urgent. Every 6 months, check both sides. Recalculate essential living expenses so the emergency fund target stays relevant. Review the predictable irregular expenses so the sinking funds match current prices and upcoming bills. Older car might need a bigger maintenance reserve. Paid off loan might lower essential monthly costs. New insurance deductible might change the medical fund. The system should move when your life moves. These 5 problems don't operate in isolation. Treating the withdrawal as failure makes you avoid the account. Skipping the test hides the real cause. Using an outdated target keeps you focused on the wrong number. Funding every goal equally slows the recovery. Calling predictable expenses emergencies creates the next withdrawal before the current rebuild is even done. The fix can start in one sitting. Treat the next 6 months as a clear sequence, not one huge target. First month, review the withdrawal, calculate remaining coverage, and restart the automatic transfer. Months 1 through 6, keep that transfer running and send any extra income you've already decided to use toward the rebuild. At the 6-month mark, recalculate essentials, measure the new runway, and decide whether the contribution still fits. Write down the current balance and divide it by essential monthly expenses. That tells you how many months of safety you still have. 6,000 with 3,000 in essentials is 2 months. Same 6,000 with 2,000 in essentials is 3 months. Same balance, completely different runway. Restart an automatic contribution today. Pick the amount you can actually sustain right now, even if it's smaller than the final number you want. Then look at temporary goals and raise the transfer where it makes sense. If $200 a month is available, 6 months restores $1,200. That's the same gap you were trying to avoid, only now the math is working for you. Review the original withdrawal. Was it necessary, urgent, unexpected, and too big for normal cash flow? Then rebuild the emergency fund. Was it predictable? Create a sinking fund with its own monthly transfer. If that predictable bill already reduced your emergency savings, you may need both, recovery now and preparation for next time. That distinction is the most important part of the whole rebuild. The question isn't just how fast can I refill the account? The better question is, what did this withdrawal reveal about how my budget is set up? If life delivered a genuine emergency, the fund did exactly what it was built to do. Refill it without shame. If an annual or recurring cost had no category, the fund didn't fail, your planning system is missing a piece. Build that piece before the expense comes back. That's why the $1,200 is better understood as lost recovery time, not some mysterious financial charge. 6 months of delayed $200 contributions creates a $1,200 gap. 6 months of restored contributions closes the same gap. The difference isn't luck, it's whether the rebuild has a clear start date, an automatic transfer, and protection from predictable withdrawals. Your next move is simple. Calculate the remaining months of essential expenses. Restart the automatic transfer, then decide whether the withdrawal needs a rebuild, a new sinking fund, or both. Once those 3 decisions are made, the emergency fund stops being an account you feel bad about and becomes a working system again. There's one last number you still need to get right. How many months of emergency savings your situation actually requires? 3 months, 6 months, or something else can produce very different targets. The right answer depends on how stable your income is, how many people rely on it, and which expenses you truly cannot pause. That's the next calculation to make before you decide exactly how large the rebuilt fund should be.